Bring it up a little bit. All right, guys, this is Radar Roy at radarbusters.com. Real excited everybody could join us. We got a packed room here in the conference room. If you want to, Mike, if you just want to kind of pan right, so everybody could say there's people in this room, actually. We're recording this event. Please, if you guys do me a favor that are online, if you could just type into the screen right now, just type something up that you could hear me and that you could also see me. That way I've done events like this where I'm talking to myself and nobody hears me or sees me. So before we begin, if somebody could kind of say, okay, I can hear you, see, thank you, Jay Anderson. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Bob. Cool. So we know we're live. Everybody can hear and see me. You should be able to see a screen of the homepage of Radar Busters. And I'll close this out a little bit, and you should see my smiley face. I'd like to welcome everybody here personally at the event. I also like to invite everybody that's on the webinar today, the live online event. We had 585 people that signed up for the event. If you could fix that camera a little bit better, it looks like you're shooting this to the ceiling. But anyway, we'll kind of get some of these technical difficulties worked out as we go through this webinar. What I'm going to start off with is I'm going to start off just with a little presentation what we're going to be doing out here this weekend. And open that up and wait for the screen to go. There we go. So you just make sure. Okay, so you should see right now our PowerPoint presentation introducing our 2015 radar detector and laser jammer shootout. This is going to be an annual test of radar detectors, laser jammers, bringing together enthusiasts from around the world and also manufacturers. Last time we did this Radar Busters was way back in 2007, just prior to us releasing the website to Hayneedle. And those of you that don't know, we took the website back from Hayneedle in October of last year, and I'm really excited about that. And we're going to be doing some really exciting things. Things like having these webinars, having these shootouts. One thing I'm trying to emphasize by having this event, doing a little different than events in the past. Those of you, I know there's some looking around the room, there's quite a few people here that have attended Carl Ford's events, the radar detector shootouts that used to be in El Paso. It was a great event, but it was basically locked down for manufacturers only. Only the manufacturers could go to those events. Well, the problem was with the enthusiasts, they felt shortchanged that they couldn't come out, participate. And then the enthusiasts would have their events, which are great also. I mean, Raltech, guys at LiDAR, they would have their events, and they do fantastic jobs. But the manufacturers kind of be left out. I wish they would have done the test this way. So there's never really any, really hasn't been a really good medium for we bringing the manufacturers all together. We bring the enthusiasts out all together for 2 days, so everybody could get to meet each other, learn from each other, and have a really fun event. So that's really what the purpose of this is, to have some fun, test some equipment, get to meet with everybody in this community. And it is a community. We have the people that have a passion for this. Jerry Ducknick, he came all the way out from Canada. Long-time guy's a LiDAR fan. He has a passion for this. Ted, he's here in this room. And Ted, I'm going to say you're kind of the newbie coming into the fold as, a radar detector enthusiast. You're reading this up. You brought your group of your car club out to our home here a few weeks ago. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, everybody that's on this call today. Right now, we have the people coming in right now. Here within the last 5 minutes, we had another 200 people join us, and hopefully we'll get up to the 590 people for today's event. Here in this room today, and also during the event, we have the manufacturers again. We have representatives from Beltronics and Escort. You're going to meet them during this call, during this webinar today. We have Leon from Blinder. We have Adaptive Technologies. We have Veil Stealth Coating. We have Legal Speeding. He had Legal Speeding had a big sign here. He's probably going to hold it up in a second, but yeah, here he goes. He turned the camera around. He's got his big banner up there. But you'll get to meet Aaron. Blend Mount was going to be here, but there was kind of an emergency that came out with, but we're still going to be giving a blend mount away. If you do have any questions about blend mount, I'll try my best to answer them. And then, of course, we have the enthusiasts. Raltech guys, I really want to compliment you. Thank you for coming all the way out here. These guys, in the last 24 hours, have just blown me away. I can't say any better with that. With the equipment they brought out here to the test, they got oscilloscopes, they got laser guns. I mean, I'm looking at the data manufacturers of these laser guns, and I'm scratching my head. How the hell did they get them? They're hiding in the back room. They don't want to be really seen, or they want to keep, their true identity kind of a little private because of some reasons. But anyway, really want to thank them for coming out. But they're really blowing me away what I've seen. We've got a number of them out here. We have some of the old group from the guys of LiDAR. Jerry's out here. And he's come all the way down from Ontario, Canada. Jim Bones was supposed to come, but he was just some last minute. Again, with Jim, he couldn't make it. And one of my goals with this event is to have a group out here in the Southwest, Nevada, Arizona, Southern California, and come up with our own laser radar detector enthusiast group. So perhaps we can get together on a regular basis to test stuff. I mean, I enjoy going out there and testing my own stuff, but it's a lot more fun having people like yourself help me and join me and actually witness, the effectiveness of this equipment. So it's just not only me saying, hey, this is good or this sucks, whatever it might be that I'm testing, that, also having people like yourself witness the test, actually get on to the radar guns, actually use the laser guns and see how everything works. This is okay, here it takes a few seconds for the to go through. This is a photograph of the testing site. We're going to be out for the next 2 days. This testing site is located approximately 9 miles to the west of the hotel that we're here. That long stretch of road that goes out forever is called the Sun Valley Parkway. It's a 4-lane divided highway that goes basically nowhere. And very, very light traffic. Over the weekend, while we're out there, you're going to see a lot of bicycle clubs doing endurance races, endurance rides. So please, if you're out there, please don't run them over. It's an open highway, it's an open road, so please pay attention when you're out there. Then you'll see the road that goes branches off. This is a paved 2-lane road, and it's probably about a little over 1.5 miles long. This is where we're going to be doing the laser testing. And we're going to be running both of these tests simultaneously. Yellow Cab from Raltech, he's going to be overseeing the laser portion of the test. And I'm going to pick on Jerry to help me oversee the radar detector portion of the test. So we're going to have both these tests going on simultaneously. And those of you that are in the room that want to, you could go back and forth to the different tests. If a lot of you guys also brought out your own equipment. I realize that. Like Ted's brought out his car, and he's going to want to test it. So, we'll have an opportunity to have everything tested that you've brought out. But more importantly, I want you guys to actually be involved in the other aspects of this, to be actually, maybe even hold a radar gun, learn how to use a radar gun, pick up a laser gun, shoot a laser gun, and see how this all works and kind of make it fun. Now, this is kind of a little overview of our radar detector test. We're going to be doing a number of tests using radar Ka band. We're going to start that off tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. At the test site, we'll have our motorhome out there. So, there's no restrooms out there, but the motorhome will be, serve as that. We'll have a refrigerator, air conditioning, water. Margie, my business partner, will be out there. She will be, helping out with the event. She'll be providing lunch for everybody. During this event, again, this is what we're going to be doing as far as the radar detector test. We're going to start it off with doing a Ka-band instant-on radar test, which I marked off in quarter-mile segments down the Sun Valley Parkway. And we're going to be using an MPH 22-8 gun, 34-7, and the custom signals 35-5. And we're going to be doing some K-band instant on radar. After we finish with that portion of the test, we're going to be doing some KA band constant on, and then KA band constant on radar. We're also going to be doing some Spectra 4 testing. I have the Spectra 4 out here. There's been some new radar detectors that recently come up on the market that they've been advertising as Spectra proof. Well, we'll find out in fact if they are Spectra proof, so you can see that if they're able to defeat the Spectra or not. And we'll be doing that, and then we'll probably be running the Spectra test simultaneously, the radar test and the laser test, because I want to, I don't want you guys to be out here 3 days. I want to get this done as quickly as possible within the 2 days that everybody's out here. And by the way, guys, if you do have any questions, those of you that are online, those of you who are in the room, please, those of you that are online, start typing them in now, because we're going to go through as many of the questions as we possibly can during this event. And during this event, we'll be giving away some prizes. We'll be giving away a Passport Max 2. We have one laser jammer manufacturer here that until he comes up here, he doesn't want to be revealed, but he is going to be giving away a new laser jammer. It's basically a prototype here at the test, but after it goes into production here another 2 or 3 months, somebody from this group is be selected to receive that, the first one. Bob's been so gracious to donate a can of Vail, some blend mounts. So we have some really cool prizes. And really the way you become eligible, if you say, to obtain one of these prizes, well, number one, be on the call, which everybody is, but also, maybe participate, ask a question. So we love people participating. Another thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some QuickTime radar. This will probably take place on Sunday. And basically, just like 1 second trigger pulls using the KA band radar guns. Also, we have a POP Super B3. So we're going to be doing some POP radar K-band testing. So that's pretty much the radar testing. Here's the POP radar gun that we'll be using out here. These are some of the radar detectors that we'll be testing out here. The Passport Max, the Passport Max 2, Escort Redline, both segmented and unsegmented. Some people use the term or Redline XR. That's basically a segmented Redline, and we'll be testing that. We'll have the Passport out here. Also, we'll be testing that in a segmented mode. We'll have 2 Valentine 1s. We'll be testing those in the stock mode and also segmented. We have a unit in LRD 950. Bell STIR Plus. We have 2 of those. I have mine, and Ted's brought his, and I know Escort's brought some stuff. Wayne's here with his adaptive TPX. He'll be on here a little bit. You'll get to meet Wayne. And as Cliff, I haven't seen Cliff yet, but he just landed or he just got into the Phoenix area. He's here at the hotel someplace. I don't know where, but he's came out here with a Stinger, and hopefully he'll be on. I'll be able to introduce you to him here in a few minutes and show you that. We also have some other stuff. We have some stuff by Rocky Mountain Radar. I had my $50,000 challenge. Anybody could show me a Rocky Mountain Radar jammer that works or scrambler that works. Hey, we'll find out. I just bought a brand new one. I like to, test it every year to make sure maybe they came up with something new. I don't know, but I still have my $50,000 challenge going on. And we also have Aaron out here. He has the hard system. It's a really cool device. Those of you that ride motorcycles, it interfaces with the Escort Valentine Beltronics radar detectors. This is where we're going to be doing the laser jammer test. Again, you could see from this picture here, it basically is a straight road. It has a couple little dips in the road out in the middle of the desert. One thing I need to share with you guys that are out here with us, please be careful where you step if you go off the pavement. We do have snakes out here. All right. So, try to stay, on the pavement. If you do go out into the high grass, do watch for any snakes that might be out there. These are some of the laser jammers we're going to be testing. We'll be testing the ALP, the Antil Laser Priority. I'll be testing the Blinder 905. And I'll say it now, Leon has come out with a prototype for a new laser jammer. Or I should say Blinder has come out with a new prototype of a new laser jammer. And we'll be testing that this weekend. And Leon will share a little bit more about that with you. We have the Escort Laser Shifter Pro and also the Stinger laser jammer. Some of the laser guns we have out here during this test include, we have several Dragon Eyes, Custom Pro Light, Stalker LR, Laser Atlanta, True Speed LTI, LTI 2020, LTI True Speed SX, Stalker XLR, variable pulse rate, Custom Pro 4, and a number of more laser guns. And again, I really want to thank Raltech. They just blew me away with the equipment they got. And thank you, guys, for bringing that stuff out. Really appreciate that. We'll be testing the Veil stealth coating. We're going to be doing some baselines without a laser jammer. First off the car, without any Veil, any laser jammers on it at all. And then we'll be putting, or Bob will be applying the Veil stealth coating. And then we'll also test it to see with a laser jammer and seeing, how it works with a laser jammer. So got a number of tests of that. And again, I'll bring Bob up here as my next guest. So Bob, why don't you come up here now? Jump up here. This is Bob was gracious enough to come out to our home and offices here. Was it a couple months ago when we did the Veil, releasing your new Veil 5? Sit over here, man. Sit next to me. We go way back. We're good friends. Bob, tell us what's up. What what are you going to be doing out here? What would with your Veil stealth coating? And tell us a little, the audience, those people that might not know what the Veil is all about.
Okay, first I'd like to start with saying I just really want to thank Roy for even going through the effort. You guys may not see here the finished product. You're going to see how nice this is going to be pulled off. But the amount of work that his staff and you do to put these things together to get everybody coordinated is just a tremendous effort. And I really don't think this is a special event for me because we go way back. You talk about SML, guys from Guys of LiDAR. We have a unique blend of old and new. And I look at like how advanced Raltech has become.
Yes.
And it is mind blowing. And yet we are back with the beginning with these enthusiast groups, and just to see the evolution without the Guys of LiDAR, we've just seen that evolution over the years. So no other person I think in this industry could put together such an event, and it really is a pleasure for us to be here. It truly is.
Thank you. So anyway, tell us a little bit about your Veil.
Well, if any of you were on our product launch, you would know that Veil is a passive stealth coating. And I think back in the event that we did with Ted, and Ted brought up a very good point about the evolution of countermeasures with detection, with radar detectors initially, and then with jamming and things along those lines as a countermeasure. And then I think Ted accurately called this counter detection. And Veil works along those lines. While some may perceive these products to be similar, jammers and Veil, and they're to the extent that they reduce the effect of police laser, they really do work separately and differently, and can work very nicely and complement each other. What Veil does is it absorbs the laser energy, the infrared that laser uses, to not give a return to a gun in many cases. And those are the areas of the cars that are the most reflective: the headlights, the license plates, the fog lights, any of those, those types of things. And by reducing the reflection, the idea is that Veil makes it harder for the gun at a distance to get the return pulse rates when they're shooting. To buy that driver, we say 3 to 5 seconds of reaction time with a good detector, if you have one, to slow down and hopefully avoid a speeding ticket in many cases. So one of the new things that we're excited about is, and although Veil has always been an infrared absorber, that many of the new photo enforcement systems that are coming out.
Okay, Bob, I'll ask you if you can speak up a little bit.
Pardon me. Yeah, many of the new enforcement systems that are using photo-based now are using infrared now. They're doing that. They've changed from, or they're transitioning from visible, with flash photography. Remember when
Mm-hmm.
Arizona had the speed cameras and you tested
Yeah.
that one product? That was great on your Loop 101.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea of flashbacks and things like that. Well, visible photo enforcement can be a distraction for drivers. Flashes at night, you see that here. It's a real distraction, red light cameras distraction. So what they've done is they've transitioned from visible spectrum to the infrared spectrum. So any flash photography that takes place can happen in the infrared that you wouldn't see and can be operated at night. So that plays to our strengths as this technology continues to evolve towards infrared, because Veil is an infrared absorber. It's going to cut down on the ability for your plates to be read and things along those lines. So we're excited about that. I mean, I hate to see the technology getting, used, but I'm happy that we, potentially could be there and the technology is moving to one of our strengths. So
Bob, let's take some questions. I'm going to ask Michael right now. He's one of the enthusiasts that came out here to write down the name of this the person and maybe just a little synopsis of their question, and then I'll ask Mike, and to select who he feels deserves our prizes. And so we'll start off with the Veil.
Sure.
Bob, this is a question. Let me see. I got to sift through all these. Is there going to be a more transparent version of Veil coming out anytime soon? And this is from Evan Kesten, Kesten. Do you have any plans of making maybe a little bit more transparent? Or?
Well, yeah, technically Veil is transparent anyway, because transparency refers to opaqueness versus clarity. But insofar as color, we're always evolving Veil. Infrared absorbers and things along those lines are very tricky components. There are materials out there, without getting too much into our kitchen here, that do very well, but they're short-lived, very sensitive to light and things like that. So when we're developing a product like this, you really have to balance many competing elements here. And first and foremost, we want Veil to last a long time. I mean, if you remember back in the G2 days through G4, we would say, expect a 6-month lifespan of the product, but we over-engineered it. And it just turns out that we found some clients had 5 years of use of the Veil. It wasn't good for us because they weren't buying us a lot of reorders, but we really over-engineered it. So the key is we really want longevity first, and that sort of dictates to a great degree. But we are always looking at new materials, and I would say it's a fair bet that in future generations of this product, you're going to see that. But there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes I really can't talk about. But yes, the plan would be eventually to. I should also say that if Veil is applied properly, it shouldn't really be noticeable on the headlights as much. And I think we saw Ted's car, but I thought you felt that was appropriate. License plates are a little darker. It's just the nature on light plates. But on the headlights themselves, especially on the fog lights or reflectors, it's going to be very hard, I think, unless you really notice the difference between a before and after. And certainly, I think I would argue it would be less noticeable than seeing jammers on a car.
Okay, this is Carlos was asking a question. Is there any way to apply Veil without making it so dark? Can you kind of cover that a little bit, but can you go into a little bit more detail?
Sure, and this has come up a couple times, and I'll hit this right now. Our initial production run of G5 was an entirely new process for us. It was a new manufacturing process, a lot of new materials process that were involved in that. And we've gotten some feedback, frankly, from some users who were the early adopters of the product, and thank you for that, that we're going to evolve. We're bringing some additional samples out here. We found this in Ted's environment. In this environment where you have such high heat and low humidity, that the product can dry quickly. And when it dries quickly, it doesn't necessarily go on as evenly. It can go on thicker than you really need it to be. So we're looking at ways to tweak that to try to make Veil be more consistently thick and therefore in color, because obviously the more coating you have, the darker it's going to appear. So it's just a function of how much you have.
Okay, let's
working on that.
Let's take one more question.
Shoot.
And then we'll bring Leon up here to speak about the Veil. This is a question from Ray Kozak, Kozak. And he's asking, is Veil detectable by police? Can they scratch or wipe off the surface to find out if somebody, put Veil on?
Well, first they'd have to notice that it was there, number one, which I argue it would be difficult. If it's applied properly, you really shouldn't notice it. Veil dries to a very hard and weather-resistant coating. So you'd have to use certain materials to remove it. You just can't go up and take your finger on it. It wouldn't last long. But insofar as detectability, uh, and I go back to jammers. When you talk about detectability, a lot of the newer laser guns have the ability to detect jam codes. And while a jammer may or may not be, or let's just say they're effective at jamming, they may create those jam codes on the guns. And then at the very least, you may get some additional scrutiny from the officer, especially in states where they're illegal. Veil doesn't necessarily produce jam codes. Now, there are phenomena that can happen where a laser gun can throw a jam code when there is no jam. That's a phenomena that can happen occasionally. But in and of itself, Veil should not produce any kind of indication to the officer. And the fact that we don't market Veil as a jam the gun product, we really market the product to buy that driver the 3 or 5 seconds of reaction time that he or she would need to slow down. The idea is eventually you're going to get a reading with Veil, and we don't hide that. I mean, that's just the nature of the product. And the idea is that at a distance, when an officer is targeting, they may have a difficulty getting a reading at a certain distance. At some point, they're going to get a resistant, reading. Hopefully, in that time, you would have slowed down, and then you'll appear like any other car. You'll appear like that. Some cars are, you can target farther. Some cars you can target closer. That's just the nature of it. So we don't believe that Veil. Really
I like this one question here. I'm gonna. This would be the last question on the Veil before we bring, because I really like this question. I've never heard anybody ask this before, but is it possible? Have you have any thoughts of making Veil available in a spray can? And is there any advantage to using a spray for Veil?
Right. Well, we've had, to answer your question, G5 is I'm going to go answer it this way. G5 is a non-flammable waterborne solution. And that's key for a lot of reasons. One is shipping. We ship internationally, and when you ship a product that's flammable, there can be challenges, the declarations and things like that. So that was a big thing for us to overcome. A similar story would be under pressure. I don't know if you guys remember that terrible crash that happened years ago in Florida with those pressurized cans that took a lot of, when you go by internationally, unless you're going to go by ship, which takes forever, that mode of transportation, you got to be very careful. Putting Veil under pressure in that respect would sort of concern me. Aerosols, I'm concerned about the environment, anything along those lines. Now, the other side of that is people do thin Veil and use an airbrush, and that's something you can do very easily. They're not that expensive, and I have gotten good feedback from people who've taken Veil, thinned it, or used it and applied it really nicely, and even to like a clear bra on a car, those rock things. So now you can actually treat not only the headlights and build a very nice build-up.
I'm going to pick on Ted real quick. Ted, can you come up here real quick? And just scoot over, guys. This is Ted. He's an enthusiast. Ted, you've done a lot of work in using the spray application of Veil. And in fact, you came up with your group here a couple of weeks ago, and we tested. Can you talk a little bit about that, what you've been doing and your experience with spraying Veil on?
Okay, I can talk about
you speak up a little bit.
Okay. First of all the people in the room, I'm kind of the consumer. I don't know if I'm your typical consumer, but I was in the Air Force, and I knew what RAW and ECM was. RAW is radar early warning. ECM is electronic countermeasures. And just before I retired from the military, we were into stealth technology. Okay, so that tells you a little something about myself. And when I moved to Arizona, I moved from Germany 3.5 years where the Autobahn had no speed limit. So when I came here, it was hard to keep my cars under Mach 1, if you understand what I'm saying. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm a consumer. I don't have any product, but I try all kinds of products. And the one I tried recently was the Veil coating Generation 5. And what Roy was talking about is I brought my sports car club out to Roy's place, and we tested different variations of the application on my one car. Now, we had been out, 3 months before when you were here?
Yeah, just about right.
I had a Stingray, and Bob and I both had Stingrays, and we did some initial testing with the product as it was. And when I came out last month with the club, we were amazed at how well Stealth G5 had done. We were down to, 150 feet. I mean, we were within 150 feet before the laser was detected. Now, that's amazing. Of my cars, I have a number of cars with all kinds of laser and radar detection. And one of the things that Vail provides is a more how do we want to say that? Cost efficient way. If you don't have the big box, it's a way to really do that initial protection. And I was pretty.
Well, let's face it, a lot of people can't afford $800,000 for a laser jammer. $98 for a can of Vail is a much cheaper alternative. And there's a lot of states that laser jammers are illegal, and this gives them an opportunity to put some on their vehicle.
Now, something I just did was I bought a spray gun at Home Depot, $10, and I sprayed my headlights because I had taken off the original brush application, which, as your questions were, it wasn't quite as good. But I sprayed it on, and I guess we'll find out tomorrow how well that spray works.
And it looks good.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, good.
All right, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ted. Hey, Leon, you want to jump up here? And by the way, Mike, I don't know if I mentioned the name. The person that asked that question was Mark Goldberg. If you could use Vail. Now, guys, if you type in some questions about Blinder, and we'll just kind of go with the flow. Leon, thank you for coming out here
How are you,
all
sir?
the way from Florida.
Yes, sir.
Now, a couple of exciting things. First off, let's talk about your Blinder 905, your HPO 905. I understand there's a new release today or recently.
I'm gonna test the new software tomorrow.
Okay.
It will be released very soon. I mean, I beta tested it back to Denmark, back over here. Now y'all are gonna really.
We're gonna put it to the
beta
test.
test it.
Yeah.
But before it gets put up, we're gonna go through this test.
Speak up so the guys online could hear. So when would the people that are online that have a 905 could expect to download their update?
You know me, in 2 weeks. I'm not going to tell you 2 weeks.
Right.
I talked to Torben this morning. They're working really hard. They're working on the voice alert, so that it'll give you the alert, but then when it really locks on, and it's going to tell you the type of gun that you're using.
Okay. Now, really exciting news. It's not a production yet. You did come out here with a prototype.
Another beta test. We're using Roy for our beta test.
Yeah, I mean, but tell us a little bit. When I seen it. I don't want to share. I don't know what I can share with the audience.
Really
I don't know what you can share. Other than it looks cool, and it's a different way. And then again, I don't know what I could share, but it's a little different than any other laser jammer I've seen. And I don't know what you can share about it, Leon.
Blinder International, I mean, I've been here for 15 years. I think I've known you for 13.
Yeah.
And I would also like to say thank you for having us out, because just me getting my 2 suitcases together, that was a job in itself, me getting out here. But to put 5 manufacturers and 10 or 15 enthusiasts and the rest of us
in the same room,
which is a good thing. It's a small community.
It is a small community. It is.
We all get along. We all know each other, and we all bounce each other's stuff off of each other.
Okay. When will this? Now, again, this is a prototype. It is not available today.
No.
When there's somebody here on this call today that's going to win this, and they're going to be the first person to own this unnamed laser gun.
We agreed.
When would they expect to have it in their mailbox?
Again, I can't give you a time, but we did agree last week that you would be the first one to get.
The customer on this call would be the first one.
That shipment. So,
all right, very cool.
Out of your first shipment, he will get that.
Will get that. All right, let's look at some of these questions here. Okay, this is from David Stevenson. He's asking about the new laser jammer update. He's asking, what guns does this new update address?
It will take the 2 new Stalkers, the 2 new LTIs. He's touched on an older LTI to improve the performance of the jammer. He's also worked very hard on the European guns, the world software, which this week I'm looking. I had a guy from Connecticut send me they're using the Poliscan. They're using the Vestronic Poliscan. I'm telling you, it's a version of it. I had him change his CPU to World, and it works fine. So,
I'm sorry about the slides, guys. I got a little keyboard here. Will the jam codes? People are the number of people asking about jam codes. One is Walter Goddard. Anything you can share about the jam?
You should not see any jam codes with this software. That Railtech has it. They've loaded it into my new CPU. You shouldn't see any jam codes tomorrow.
Okay. This is a question from Harry Miller. Do laser jammers need periodic calibration to make sure that they're working?
I've never had it. I mean, with Blinder International, I have very few warranty issues. Every once in a while, I get a bad CPU or something that sometimes it's user error, sometimes it's just the CPU itself. But I don't see any warranty, stuff to where you have to send it back and we have to send it back to you.
Okay.
The updates, Blinder International will only update if they need an update. And they do, when the update comes out, it comes out and it works well. I can't say it's always in our timing, but when it does come out, it works very well.
Well, this is a question from Santo from Montreal, Canada. He says he lives in Canada. The wintertime is blinder lenses get dirty. Do you have any tips on how perhaps you could keep those clean and keep them from getting scratched up? Or
no, just keep them wiped off, and the replaceable lens, you can replace these lenses. It's not recommended. The 905s, the older systems, the M10, M20, M25, M27, I did see some hazing, and you could easily slip those lenses off, 2 screws, pop them back on.
Mm-hmm.
But the 905, I really have not seen. It's almost 3 years now, and I've not seen that, any hazing. Now, don't use a cleaner. Just use a nice, clean cloth and keep them wiped off. Canada, with the snow and stuff like that, you need to keep them clean.
Now, this is a really good question, something, we should have addressed in the beginning of this, because not everybody that's on this webinar today really knows a lot about, we have some new people.
Is it legal?
No, it's not legal. What does a laser jammer do? How does it work?
What does a laser jammer?
And that's from Michael Mahoney. I mean, what exactly, explain to those people, what does a laser jammer do?
You pick up the signal.
Well, explain what a laser gun is first. There's a difference between radar and laser.
Yes, there is. There's a difference.
And speaking to the mic here.
One's light. One's handled by FDA is light. FCC is radar.
Okay.
Illegal to jam radar in 50 states. You can detect radar. You can use a good Beltronics or an Escort radar. Get good detection, but the jamming, if you don't want to get a speeding ticket, then you need to get a jammer. Okay. The jammer, on the other hand, there's a few states that they have them illegal. You look into the paperwork, and it could be so many heads. It could be you can only use this system with this system. I've never had anyone tell me I've been pulled over for using a jammer. I got a ticket for using a jammer.
Well, I've actually had one person call me because his neighbor was a state trooper, and he told his state neighbor, and this is in California, he told his neighbor, hey, look what I got.
He didn't get a ticket, though, did he?
No, he was told to take it off.
Yeah, the neighbor's following around. I personally haven't had anybody really come back and say,
I think that really the key to it all, and Leon, tell me if you disagree, you never want to do what we call jam the gun. A police officer's going to shoot you with a laser gun. You don't want to go just, I'm jamming him, ha, 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 and just go past him. Right. You're a blinder, you can program the auto shut off. Escort, you could shut off automatically in 4 seconds. Program it so it automatically shuts down. And while it's in that 4 second, you're having the ability to slow down, come down the speed. Absolutely. The officer's, not going to realize, it's going to take him time to acquire your target anyway. now you're slowed down. He's not suspicious, and he's going to go on. I was talking to some of the Yellow Cab and Ralph Tech guys, some of their experiences, and they get shot quite frequently. There's very little laser out here, but they were talking about a situation. The same thing. The officer would have had them. They slowed down considerably, and it was probably visually that guy speeding. But the cop says, "No, wait, there's a car next to him. I'm going to shoot him, and I got him."
And you go down the road, and
you go down the road.
Just don't stop the officer from what he's trying to do. You get a reading, you get a detection in the car. It gives you plenty of time. He's not picking up a speed reading at all. It gives you enough time to slow down. The blinder will either turn itself off, or you can turn it off manual. You can set it to turn itself off. Let the officer do what he's supposed to do. Don't give him any reason to come question you. Let the blinder do what it's supposed to do. It's going to give you the time to slow down, get down to legal speed, let the officer pick up legal speed, go on about your business.
Wow, we got tons of questions. There's no way I could get all these questions. I'm going to shoot down here.
I can't even see that.
I mean, there's like zillions of questions. I mean, right now we have, just under 470 people online. I'm just trying to find some good, because there are a lot of duplicates, a lot of ones. I like this. I don't know if you can answer this one or not. Is there the new system, would this be something that could tie into Bluetooth on your new blinder?
We've talked about it. We've talked. I'm in communication with Denmark. We talked about they're working on Bluetooth. They're working on apps. They're working on, the technology is moving so
quick.
Fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, you come out with something today, it's old.
Okay.
We're just constantly moving forward. And then, me personally, I'm buying a laser jammer to jam laser, and that's it. I don't want it to do anything but jam laser.
Well, that question was from Morris Goldberg, by the way. Let's take one last question.
I know Morris. I know. Hi, Morris. How you doing, buddy?
Let's take one question. If somebody wants a laser jammer and they have a typical car, what would their typical investment be for laser protection using laser jammer?
5 years ago, I would have told you dual all day long. Just a dual. Don't worry about the front. I mean, don't worry about the rear. I'm starting to see rear shots in Florida now. I'm starting to see rear shots in Georgia and South Carolina. I don't drive all over the country, but I know Texas shoots in the rear.
Dallas Fort Worth is real big.
I know Jersey. I think these guys are Jersey, New York. Yeah. I know they're known for rear shots. I saw set up the other day that, they're fighting it legally because they say the officer that shot needs to be the officer that writes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening. I saw the officer up on the bridge, and 3 guys had 3 people pulled over.
As long as both, at least in Arizona, both of them come to the trial or the case,
right,
that's fine.
Right.
That's otherwise it's hearsay. But let's say somebody wants, how much could somebody expect to spend for a typical car for a dual system?
The dual is $599. The install either can be done yourself, or we suggest, if you're not familiar with running the wires, have a install shop do it. Have an aftermarket shop do it. So that dual is $599. The triple we do a lot of is 2 in the front, 1 in the rear, and 1 right over the plate. That one's $749.
Okay.
And I think if they go to you, they get.
Well, if they become a
10%.
VIP, VIP members, they'll get a discount on their laser jammer. Leon, thanks, because we got other manufacturers.
Thank you.
Oh, who asked that question? I'm sorry. Let me, I'm trying to figure out who answered that question, let me bring up Wayne. We'll talk about the adaptive. Okay, that was Marty Flagg. Honey, can you give me my drink over there?
Hi, Roy.
How are you, buddy?
Doing okay?
All right. I'm trying to speak up and talk loud so everybody can hear me on the call. The TPX adaptive radar detector. Wayne,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for coming out here. Tell us a little bit. I know we had some motorcycle riders out here. And basically, you're the only manufacturer in this industry that I've ever seen come out with a radar detector laser. You had also a laser jammer, but came out with a solution for motorcycle riders. And what's really cool what I really like about your system is you got the really large buttons. You got the heads-up display. Yeah, just take it out of the box, and that way they could see it right there up on the video.
Sure.
But then, Wayne, if you share with the audience exactly what your system does. Guys, if you have any questions for Wayne. Now, again, this is going to be a device, somebody that rides a motorcycle. Okay, this would be something that, so if you're a motorcycle rider, you're going to have the ability to put this on your bike, ask the questions. Because I don't want to give this away to somebody that's not going to use it. Okay. So anyway, please be so kind and share that with the audience today.
Sure. We started making radar detectors specifically for motorcycles about 7 years ago, and it all started with me getting my first bike of my own out of college, trying to not get a ticket and realize that it's a pain to adapt a car radar detector to a motorcycle. At the time I was working in the motorcycle industry, one thing led to another. Me and a friend of mine, we both have engineering background, started looking into it, and next you know, we're making it. So essentially what we did was we designed our radar detector from the ground up. We took all the features that we as motorcyclists would know that are needed to use the radar detector on the bike and incorporated that into the design. We personally feel that on a motorcycle, you got to use our radar detector for its features. It's waterproof, vibration-proof, shock-proof. We're the only manufacturer out there that will warranty the unit if something happens to it on a bike. In fact, I mean, we all ride motorcycles, and we know how it is that if you had the unfortunate event of going down, we have replaced our customers that had gone down. We had replaced their radar detectors because, I mean, it sucks enough to go down to begin with. And then at least what we can do is make it a little easier for them to replace their radar detector. So it's got big buttons. We all know that when you're riding, you got gloves on, or if you're going, you're concentrating on controlling your bike. You don't want small buttons that you can't operate. That's why the big buttons. We got the displays on the top side, and we all know that on a bike, you're looking down this way. It's hard to see the display on this side. That's why we have the big LCD up here. With our radar detector, what's also unique about it is that the way that it alerts you. It will make sound, but we all know that if you're going fast, you're not going to hear anything with the wind and the engine noise. That's why with our radar detector, it comes with an LED indicator. That's this thing right here. You hook this up onto the top of your gauge, and it works like a shift light. When the detector goes off, this thing will flash and let you know that you got hit by radar or laser. That's how it indicates. We also have an optional earpiece that you can hook up to your helmet so that you can hear it through your helmet. We also have an audio port so you can integrate it into your sound system. That audio port can also be hooked up to a Bluetooth connector so that you can hear it through your Bluetooth headset. And it's also compatible with Legal Speeding's HART system. That's the in-helmet light boom that will alert you of radar picking up signals in your helmet. So from a motorcyclist point of view, we think we've got everything covered. Aside from the LED light, you also get this quick release plate. And what this is that this allows you to take the radar detector and slide it on and off your bike easily. Say you're on a ride, you're on your lunch break. You don't want to leave your radar detector on your bike. You can just take it off and put it in your pocket and take it with you. This sliding plate is compatible with all the mounts out there. It's got a standard AMPS hole pattern, whether you got a RAM mount or a tech mount, a third-party mount, or we also make mounts ourselves, adaptive mounts. It's compatible with all of them. It also comes with a heavy-duty wiring harness out of the box. You can hook it up directly to the battery for power, or if you want to, you can hook it up to a switched wire on the bike so that when you turn on your bike, everything will come on at the same time. And as I mentioned before, it's got an audio port so that you can hook it up to your bike sound system, where you can run earbuds, where you can hook it up to a Bluetooth device if you want to do that. We also have a laser jammer, and we work with Blinder, and it's compatible. It's a plug-and-play system where you get the laser jammer, you plug it in, and you'll integrate with our radar detector. And that's pretty much our radar detector.
What I really like about your system, I got to admit, it's all nice together, one box. Oh, I guess change the slide. There we go. What I really like about your system is it's all in one system. It's all in nice one little box. You don't have to go out and buy this. You don't have to go buy that. It just really, and it's economical too. So it really compliments you. You've been doing this for a long time. Really good reviews from customers that have bought that. Here, let's take some questions here from the customers. First off, there's a number of questions. How are you going to pick winners? I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of a wuss. I don't want people pissed at me, so I don't select winners. All right. So that's why I selected it. One of our enthusiasts here today by the name of Mike. He's up front. He's going. He's watching the chat screen. He has a computer right in front of him. It's going to be his job to select the winners today. Can I use the wireless headset and the visual alert together? And this is from William Israel.
Yes, you can. You can use all of them at the same time. This comes with it, and it's on all the time. If you have our wireless headset, you can do that. Even if you have our wireless headset and you want to hook it up to your bike sound system, you can also do that. In the wireless headset, there's no programming needed. You take it out of the box, you turn it on, and it will communicate automatically with the radar detector.
Okay, this is a question from Carlos, Guardola Jr. Is there a way to conceal the display or remove it when not riding the bike?
Okay, we do have a lot of customers that wants to do that. Unfortunately, at the moment, you can't really, quote unquote, hide this unit the way it is. However, you can conceal it by placing this upside down, either underneath your front fairing. We have a lot of customers that would do that. Since this is waterproof, weatherproof, you can place it there. It's durable. It's not gonna affect the performance or anything like that. The only thing is you'll lose access to the settings. But if you have the settings that you want, you set it underneath your front fairing, it's fine over there. We also have customers that would embed this into the fairing of the bike, which is fine. You're going to lose just slight detection performance on radar. With laser, you're going to lose that completely, because laser is a beam of light, and by placing this inside your fairing, the solid plastic will block the laser light from coming through, so you're not going to pick up laser. But if you have our laser jammer, then that's a moot point anyway.
Can you use this on a car too, or is it only strictly motorcycle? And this is, while you answer that, I'll look up the name person that answered that. That was David Dixon.
Yes, you can use
David Dixon.
You can use this in a car. We do also sell a car kit for $29. And what it is, it's a cigarette socket power plug that you plug into your cigarette socket. We also sell a auto dash mount. Now, with our car kit, it comes with a sliding plate. If your dash is flat, you can just place it on there. However, if your dash is slanted, you might need the mount in order to raise it up and make it parallel. Or if you have one of those bean bags for your dash, that will work too.
Some people wanted to see an actual picture of it online, so then that was from while you're answering. Okay. So talk about got a lot of questions about the Bluetooth portion of that. How does that work with Bluetooth if somebody has a Bluetooth headset?
Sure. If you back to the picture thing, if you go to Radar Roy's site, he's got some pictures. If you go to our website, adaptivetech.com, we have a gallery section, and in the gallery section, you will see our products on a bunch of different bikes. We also have a Pinterest site if you go to our webpage, on the lower right-hand corner, there's a link to our Pinterest page. That's actually customer pictures. It's not pictures by us. It's customers from all different motorcycle, different motorcycle riders with different motorcycle makes and models on there. So you can go through that and you can see our product on different bikes. I believe we have pictures of our product on every single make of motorcycles out there. So chances are you'll find a picture of our radar detector on your bike. Now, going back to Bluetooth. So here is our wiring harness. And on the wiring harness, this red plug right here is a 3.5 millimeter female mono audio output. If you have a Bluetooth headset on your helmet, what you can do is you'll need to get a Bluetooth transmitter, which Roy also sells on his website, coming through us. You plug that into this port and it will communicate with your Bluetooth headset. Now, keep in mind that most Bluetooth headsets will only pair up with one single device at a time, meaning that it's either the radar detector or your GPS or your phone, but not all at the same time. So keep in mind that, with most of them, you can only pair up with a single device. Now, if your bike has a Bluetooth stereo system built in, if you ride a BMW or Harley, you can also pair up with your bike's sound system by getting that same adapter. You plug it in, and your sound system on the bike will pick that up and run through it. Keep in mind that if you have the brand new Harley, the year 2015 Harley Davidsons, you do need to bring it to a dealer for it because there is a code that you need to punch in to make that work. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you have a bike sound system that's not Bluetooth, but with an audio import, you can run a wire from this into your bike sound system, into that import, and you'll be able to hear the beeps coming through your bike sound system.
Thank you, my friend. Let's bring Aaron up here. We'll talk about Aaron's hard system. And we'll change the slide to make. Oops. Let me go back over here. I got to go. Going the wrong way. There he is. Aaron Zimmerman. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Floyd. Just want to reiterate what everyone else said. This is just a great thing you're doing.
Well, thank you very much.
Because all the past events have been, kind of segmented, and now this is all together. I'd love for this to become an annual event.
We got somebody here bringing up a sign.
It's my banner ad.
Your banner ad.
It's my manual banner.
All right. Again, this is a motorcycle-related product. So if you don't have a motorcycle, it's not really going to do you much good unless you want a heads-up display in your car. So those people that have any need for Aaron's product that has a motorcycle, we appreciate those questions be specific to these people, so we don't have somebody that wins it. All right, very cool. And I keep on pressing these wrong buttons here. Let me get back to your question. Now, while we got this up on screen, also I want to just kind of bring up a little picture of what exactly your system does. Also, we have some cool videos on our website already. But Aaron, while I'm bringing this slide up, tell us a little bit about what is the hard system? What brought the hard system?
Well,
why'd you make the hard system?
Sure. Well, legal speeding really focuses on three primary areas. We focus on radar detector accessories for motorcycles. We also do motorcycle dollies for shop consumer use, and then we have another division that does business development for small companies. Today, all we're going to focus on is the radar detector accessories for motorcycles. Primarily, it's going to be what's called the HARD system, HARD. That acronym stands for Helmet Assisted Radar Detection. And the HARD system was really developed after a need that I had, because I was running detectors back in the mid-'80s, and I would have wires running to my helmets. There would always come out that it'd be painful after several hours of riding. If I tried to listen to it, I could never hear it. Just a myriad of things. That's because those detectors were, made for cars and closed environment. We are on a motorcycle, you're out in a 70, 80, 90 mile an hour hurricane, basically. And that's the wind noise you have. You wear earplugs. That kind of cuts off a lot of your audio sensories. So I came up with a visual warning. And a lot of this.
Take it out of the box so you can just share it like that, that little blue light right there.
Sure. This is the hard system right here. And the hard system consists of two parts. It consists of a receiver, battery operated, and a transmitter. So by having a receiver and transmitter, it's wireless. So the first benefit is there's no wires now connecting you to the bike. Any motorcyclist out there who's pulled into a gas station and is hooked up with his intercom to listen to radio and everything else knows the hassle when you get off and you forget and pulls on your helmet. The transmitter installs in about 5 seconds. The transmitter plugs in line what they call daisy chains between the detector and the power cord. So basically you have a radar detector. Anyone have a radar detector handy? I'm sorry, I didn't bring one up. Okay, never mind. The radar detectors out there that we're compatible with, Beltronics, Escort, Valentine, and Adaptive, they all use a power cord looks like this, a modular jack, an RJ11, or a phone jack. And that's because they use this for both input and output, both input of power and then output of a signal. And they use that signal for different things. The Valentine for directional use, for muting, Escort for volume control and muting. So we've intercepted that signal. So basically, you take the power cord that's powering your detector and you plug it into the transmitter. And now you plug this into the detector. So it just plugs in, like I said, 5 seconds. There's no mods. There's no reprogramming your detector. And what you've just done is you've now set up your radar detector to transmit. Whenever it gets a warning, it's going to trigger the transmitter to send a signal up to the receiver. And this is a battery operated receiver. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Just to reiterate, I mentioned that 3 out of the 4 radar detectors that were compatible with use the RJ11 jack, again, phone or modular jack. So you have this installed on your bike. You'll probably have a direct wire cord that looks like this. And you're sitting on the bike and it's looking down the road. All you're going to do is you unplug the power cord. I now plug the transmitter into the radar detector and now the power cord into the transmitter.
And that's it.
And you're all set. Once again, no reprogramming of the detector. It doesn't disable any of the functionality of the detector whatsoever. You don't have to turn the volume up maximum to trigger the transmitter. You don't have to worry about any of that. So that's the transmitter side of it. And once again, by having that transmitter, you've now taken a radar detector that before wasn't giving off a wireless signal. Now it is sending a basic RF signal up to the helmet, because in the helmet, you have this right here. And this is a waterproof case. You may recognize this case. Looks very similar to the Adaptive wireless audio alert. We partnered with them as far as from a technology standpoint to use some of their hardware as well as some of their technology. So now we're compatible also with the Adaptive system. And I'll talk more about that a little bit later. So basically, we have this waterproof enclosure, momentary on-off switch. This right here is the business end of it. And in a motorcycle helmet, traditionally the full face helmet, you have this little portal that you're looking out of. You would have this stalk right here in your peripheral vision. Left side, right side, up, and put it anywhere you want. It's a stiffening wire. So once you adjust it, because everybody, just like everyone has different vision, everybody has different peripheral vision. I happen to have pretty good peripheral vision, so mine is, put off, out here, and I can still catch it. Nighttime, I even move it farther away, because at nighttime, yeah, it's bright. It has to be bright, because in the sunlight, you'd be surprised the diffusion that the sun causes on all lights. And that's why we use the red light, because that is the most seen color spectrum, or the color spectrum the most seen in the sunlight. So this right here comes with Velcro, comes with a nice little hardware kit that has the Velcro for the transmitter, Velcro for the receiver, and your battery in there. you're going to get anywhere from a minimum of 60 hours of battery life on, and that is about a 100% jump from some of the previous versions. We call this the Hard System 5, and the 5 is because we originally brought this out in 2002, and this is the 5th iteration. And what the 5th iteration gave you was waterproof receiver and waterproof transmitter. It gave you a microprocessor. So now this is built on firmware instead of discrete components. And what that basically means is if there's any changes we need to do, you don't need to trash the old system. You just send it back and we can reprogram it. The Hard System 5, another improvement was it is compatible with the adaptive system. Wayne was up here from Adaptive, and when they came out with really a motorcycle specific detector, we really wanted to be compatible with them somehow, but we were running on a different frequency. So when we decided to redo the hard system and come out with Hard System 5, we wanted to make sure that we were compatible. So of the 4 detectors that we talked about being compatible with, Beltronics, Escort, Valentine, and Adaptive, first 3 use the RJ11 power cord. On the adaptive system, that detector already gives off a wireless signal, the same wireless signal that they use to trigger their wireless audio alert. We use to trigger the hard system. So if you have an adaptive radar detector on your motorcycle, you don't have to buy the transmitter. You can just get away with buying the receiver. So it saves you about $7. It's kind of cool.
Got a lot of questions here. Go ahead. A lot of motorcycle riders.
Good. I'm just going to do a quick summary. So,
sure, go ahead.
In summary, no tangled wires attaching you to the bike. There's no blaring speaker, because that's another option you can do. Have this big piezo speaker that wakes the neighborhood. There's no blinking light mounted on your dash. And I point that out, and sorry, Wayne, but as a motorcyclist, think about when you're riding. If you're looking ahead 100% of the time, that's not good. When I ride, I'm probably looking straight ahead maybe 50% of the time. The other 50%, I'm looking at my mirrors. I'm checking my blind spots. I'm looking for the right and left side streets, so no one pulls out in front of me. I'm looking way far beyond. I'm checking way behind me. I'm looking at the car that's behind me. Has that car changed? Has a cop kind of snuck up behind me a little bit because he's tailing me? So, to have a bright light, and it's not, sorry, Wayne, there are other manufacturers of these dash lights, and I really kind of question their 100% usefulness. And then because, now with this in your peripheral vision, wherever I'm looking, okay, looking at the person making a bad left turn in front of me, looking over here, checking my blind spot, checking out the girl on the beach. It's always here. It's right there. Look at the plane in the sky. Great bird. Cool. Okay. Still there. So now I can allow total focus on the road and what I'm doing.
Very cool.
What's the question?
All right. This is from William Israel. William understands there's no modification to the radar detector, but how about the helmet? Do you have to make any modification to the helmet to put the receiver on?
No, that's really optional because what we've done is with the Hard System 5, since this is waterproof, this can go just on the back of the helmet. I run mine in the back of the helmet so I can reach the button because one of the features also the Hard System 5 is that it has an auto off and low battery warning. The auto off, after 4 hours of riding, it'll flash and tell you, hey, I've been on for 4 hours. You want to conserve battery and shut me down. Every time you just hit the button, that resets the 4-hour timer. So we want on the outside of the helmet, and then the rest of the wires, and they're very, small wires, just kind of snake behind the cheek pads as well as the lower pads right here. And on the helmets nowadays, most of those cheek pads, they snap out very easily, not only for changing sizes but also for cleaning. So I've not found any modifications needed.
This question's from Jason Anderson. He's asking, if you say you ride with a pack of motorcycle riders and they all have hard systems, would there be interference with other hard systems? And why don't you explain about the benefit of maybe getting extra receivers if you ride in a group?
I'm only going to commit to a 10-foot maximum transmission level because that's what Chapter 15 of the FCC, limits me to. So if you want to ride in a pack of less than a 10-foot radius around the transmitter, you're ready for MotoGP. Okay, but I would not recommend trying to have one guy with a transmitter and other guys with receivers. That's probably not a healthy thing to do on the street. In regard, going back to the original question, is there any interference? No. The hard system 5, it eliminates interference that some of the earlier systems had with other systems. Plus, there's no more GPS interference that wasn't earlier. Back in the early 2000s, there was some issues with that. Hard system 5 does not interfere with any of your Bluetooth stuff or any other of your basic, RF wireless items. Thanks.
Okay, let me see. Can the hard system be moved around, or how can you adjust it while you're riding? And this is from Jeremy Gunther.
Okay, good question. So I'm riding along, and I have this, let's say, in my peripheral vision right here, and all of a sudden I turn west, and I'm facing the sun, which is just really brutal. Or if you're maybe going east and the sun is setting, those are the two worst times. All you have to do is just move this, flip up your screen, because there's a stiffening wire that'll hold the position. Nighttime, I push mine off to the side, because at night you just don't need it, that close to you, because you're going to pick it up.
Okay.
So I answer it?
I've got it. Okay. Let's have Escort come up here. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Roy. And thank you, Escort, for loaning me the radar detector.
Let me bring up.
Whoops. There you go, Roy.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Mom.
Well, you're getting with a bunch of gifts. What is this? What's going on here?
Right here, Jason. Right there. Good to see you.
Good seeing you, Ron. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. And
sure.
And just like everyone else has said, I want to thank you especially for doing this.
Thank you.
I want to thank Margie for setting all this up, all the other manufacturers, people in the industry, and especially everybody that's watching, everybody that's on here, all the aficionados in the room. That makes the industry so much bigger than what it is. And so thank you so much for all your help.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you much.
Glad to be here. Can I put some of these up there?
Please do. And take a little time. Now, guys, if you got questions about any of Escort's Beltronics products, really, this is Larry is the guy that's on the Escort forum. Those of you that have been on the Escort forum, even radardetector.net, he's the guy that answers all your questions. And I'm really happy to, have him out here. This is really an honor to have you out here. Thank you very, very much.
Out west. It's really nice.
Yeah. So
tell him who taught you everything. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, sure. You got a table full of stuff here. Tell me about it.
So first of all, I want to say just some neat products. And I'm a motorcycle rider, and just some really cool things that Wayne, Aaron have talked about. Blinder is absolutely somebody that we look in high regard to what Leon Blinder does. And, Bob with his Veil product, just there's a lot of cool stuff here.
Yeah,
there really is. For us, we make a little bit of all of it, and even more. I think in general, we try to make a system that covers you against everything. Now, one of the things that we didn't talk about here today were red light cameras. Mm-hmm. So, speed cameras, speed traps, all of that. Don't forget our Escort Live app. Can you pull your app up on your phone? So not only do our detectors, they're compatible with some of the systems that we've talked about beforehand. We make systems that also add on to our windshield mount radar detectors. They're compatible with some of the other competitive systems that add on. But all of our products also tie into the Escort Live app. So now if you're tied into the app, it's as if all the aficionados that are driving around, and many of them are familiar with this, but if you're not, now you've got the detector, you're in the Escort Live app, and the really cool part is this: everyone else's eyes become my eyes. So before I even leave my driveway, my app on my phone is going to let me know what you've seen, what Wayne has seen, what Leon has seen, what Bob has seen, what Aaron has seen. And that's kind of neat, because not only are we a community of aficionados, manufacturers and experts here, but in real time, in the real world with these products and this app, now you're connected in that community, sharing real radar and laser alerts, as well as the speed cameras, red light cameras, etc.
You know, I got the video on Radar Busters when we remember I had the passport when I got in August, and that was so cool. That one video we had where it was a VASCAR alert. It was a police spotted alert, and I would have never in a million years been able to pick up a VASCAR alert on any radar detector or laser jammer.
None of this would have worked.
None of that would have. Nothing in this room would have worked. And you know, it saved my butt. You know, and I was, you know, that right there, you know, I can't say enough about that.
So if you go to my Facebook page or LinkedIn page, it talks about one of the things I do is I help support products that give you the whole umbrella of radar and laser, speed trap, speed ticketing, red light camera, the whole driving experience, anything that's a threat to you, that's what we protect against. Both brands, both sister brands, Beltronics, Escort.
Okay. Brands. Do we want to talk anything about the marriage of that third new company at this time or anything? Or?
Wayne was going to ask that question from the floor if I didn't bring it up, because I was going to come up here and I was going to say you've got everybody here, but I was going to ask where's Whistler. I was going to ask where's Valentine, but I think you have a couple of Valentine units.
We have some Valentines. Whistler, we have some Whistler detectors we're going to be testing.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't see Mike Batten. Mike's a very good colleague in the industry. Yes, Cobra. Cobra is missing. The news is, I don't know how it's official in one sense. I don't know how official it is for our consumption, but I'll just go ahead and say, because most of you are aware, the parent company, whom we dearly love, from New York, Monomoy Capital Partners, who purchased Escort Beltronics, has also recently purchased Cobra, the radar detector, CB radio, marine radio, FRS radio, power charger, inverter development, Pacific Rim rebrand product guys. Are we sisters also? Stay tuned. So we'll have to see.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see.
Well, we got some Cobra products out here. We got the family service radios. We're going to have some video cameras too. But I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen with the Cobra products, because you know, I'll be honest with you, I was hard with them. And you know, previously, because some of their stuff. I mean, 14 band, 18 band, 20 band radar detectors didn't go over well with me.
So like everything else in life, you know, there are price points, right?
Yes.
And there are price points because not all of us can afford to fly around in our own private airplane. So many of us have cars. Some of us have 15-year-old trucks, and my motorcycle. Boy, she looks beautiful though, as beautiful as the day I bought her. But she's 1985 Honda Shadow. But the point is, Cobra serves a very specific niche. It really does. And in that niche, and for that price point, they do not do a bad job. Yeah. Now, do they do everything that we talked about before we came up here? Do they do what these products on the table do?
Oh, no.
They don't. But do they cost the same as these products on the table?
No.
They don't.
So
you can be hard, but maybe now you want to be a little bit less.
Well, no, I'm hoping with the marriage that there's going to be some improvement.
Here's the analogy.
I'd like to think of it this way, you know, that there's going to be some improvement in the Cobra line to make it more of like a good entry. Here's my problem, and I'll be totally honest with you.
I hope that you're always honest.
No, well, but you know, I a lot of people I've spoke to, you know, first experience with a radar detector has been with a Cobra radar detector. And they buy it, they put it on their dash, and all they hear is, you know, squeaking, yelling, and screaming at them. And they get fed up with it, and they assume all radar detectors are like that. And so they never want to step up to spend another $200, $300, to whatever it might be, to get something that actually works. They just immediately think all radar detectors are like that.
That's a great point. We spent a lot of time when 8 years ago we came out with the world's first. And to my knowledge, from the patent protection, the way that we do it, still the world's only detectors that absolutely nearly eliminate all false alerts by using GPS position, sensing location, specific frequency, identify the source automatically. You just drive. You don't worry about it. Lock out that false alert and it's gone. And it's great that you brought this up, because of all the things that we've done. I've been in this industry a long time, 100 years or more. I don't know, but forever. And one of the greatest things that we've ever developed was the ability to eliminate all those beeps and braps. Now, the interesting thing is with some of our other products that don't do that automatically, you tie them into the app, and now you can lock out those false alert locations, which will be remembered on your version and software of your phone for your app. so you can lock them out there.
We got literally hundreds and hundreds of questions that are coming in on
Yes,
this.
I'm for hire. My resume, LinkedIn.com.
No. All right, got a number of questions, and actually, Tony sent a couple of questions prior to this, and he's also got some questions here. Tony Capestany, Capestany. You got a couple questions here. One I like about, updating how, which radar detectors can be updated, which ones can you hook up to your computer. I remember, in the early days, I want to update my radar detector. You had to put it in the mail, ship it, and 3 months later you get it back. Today it's so much easier. Which ones can that happen to?
Pretty much all the detectors that we've been releasing since the 9500 IX, minus redo of the red line and the S-type magnet, everything else has some type of a USB port and the ability to be updated. It is, I want to say famous, not infamous, but we have a package on the web called Detector Tools. Yeah. And we have the ability for when we do software updates, and Larry talks to a lot of people out there, back and forth. We do regular software updates, partly as routine maintenance, but as Leon said, the technology continually changes. Mm-hmm. And the coolest thing about the Max, the Passport Max, I said this on your show 2 years ago, big, huge event, and thank you very much. And thank you for all of you who are watching if you were part of that. But the Passport Max came along and changed all of this. Yes. Because it went from all of these detectors are analog radios. And everything we've talked about today, and the Veil is a particular chemical coating that goes over the plate. But the Passport Max took all of the world of radar and laser detection into the digital domain. Mm-hmm. Just like when we had cameras with film. Mm-hmm. And in those days, you would take pictures. You take pictures of grandma and your kids and everything else. And not only did you have to go buy the film, that was one trip. Then you had to, as a secret agent, you had to put the film in the camera in the dark. Then you take the pictures. Then you had to go back and drop them off. Then you had to make a third trip to pick them up. Now you're going through, grandma has got red eyes. Junior looks like he's got horns. And somebody else isn't, like they're cut off from here and down, right? So with the digital world and digital cameras, all of that went away. And now those pictures, you could see them instantly. Even grandma could take the red eyes out and Junior's horns away and have these fabulous pictures. The digital domain changes everything, not only in how we process, but as Leon would tell you from Blinder, in how we respond to new threats. They're not going to get any more bands. They can't make any more laser frequencies. No. So on the other side, all they can do is try to change the modulation schemes. That's all done in software. Mm-hmm. And so the digital series of detectors, they're going to change absolutely how we go about responding to them.
No,
was that too long of an answer?
No, that was good. And this is a question from Andy Jones, and I get this question a lot. And this is another thing with people that have owned radar detectors before, and I like to use a term that I borrowed from one of your colleagues. It's the radar detectors like the Max 2, your red line, ain't like your daddy's radar detector anymore. I mean, they're digital; these are new. The chief complaint with radar detector owners or people that have owned radar detectors in the past, and this is echoed by Andy Jones right here, false alerts.
I love it when we talk about false alerts. And I'm not picking on anybody, but all of our competitors, we have eliminated false alerts. We have given you, the driver, the ability to do it yourself. We've also given our detectors different models and platforms the ability. Andy, the good news is this. If it's a stationary, repeatable, identifiable false alert source, it's gone. It's gone. We're not going to hear it again. We've talked about this before, and no one busted me back at the ranch. The Escort Live app, all those data points are being collected. Not who uses Escort Live, because some conspiracy theorists would be very paranoid. But the data going into the cloud, every time your detector goes off, every time his detector goes off, every time everyone else's detector goes off, we have been storing all of those data points. Now, if a particular officer, she goes to a particular restaurant on a given day of the week, and at a given time later goes to a particular hotspot to issue tickets, we'll know where that is. So in this app, so the data is going to work two ways. Yeah. Predictive potential threat alerts, like hotspots, really true hotspots. And in the inverse, the minute that guns go up anywhere, and if you've locked it out, or he's locked it out, or anyone else in the room's locked it out, when I fly into your city and plug in my radar detector, Escort Live is going to let me know the false alerts before I ever even even get to.
I just got to share with you something funny.
So how cool is that?
Well,
How many do you have now? 10,000?
Oh gosh,
Thousands. There are thousands, hundreds in this room. Hundreds in this room. And they're all right now going, holy cow, that's just awesome.
I just got to share something with you that I find kind of humorous. Those of you that have been by my house, we do a lot of radar detector, laser jammer testing. My home is a speed trap in Escort Live now.
That is so cool. Hey, you know what?
That's just what I was going to say. We've added the speed trap. It doesn't mean there's a speed trap.
Got a big badge right above his head.
Yeah, you get near my house, everything goes crazy on Escort Live.
So make sure to, of course, people can go to the Beltronics.com, and Escort.com, EscortRadar.com, EscortInc.com.
Well, that's a good question that you have here.
But they can also, you've got the VIP stuff, so you sell our stuff kind of cheap, right? We sell our stuff cheap. So it's as easy as just pull off your phone, Google radar, and we'll come up, right?
Got a couple questions here, and
then you two can share in all this cool technology.
And this is from Chris Lewis. What is the difference between Escort and Beltronics?
ESCORT BELTR. Actually, that's a great question. What was his name? Who asked that question?
I just lost you. What was it, Chris Lewis? Chris Lewis.
Chris Lewis. Chris, we get this question a lot. It's a great question. Beltronics, when we Escort purchased Beltronics many, many years ago, Beltronics had this great front end, this really sensitive radio, because that's what it was. It was an analog radio tuned to radar guns. We had this phenomenal laser circuit, and we had the ability for people to actually understand their radar detector and could navigate through the menus and change settings. If you ran a Beltronics detector back then, you had to be an engineer, double E, to understand to get through the menus, and that was then. So what we did over time is we didn't get rid of anyone at Beltronics. We just took 2 engineering departments, and it's kind of one of those things they like to say at business school. You don't take 1 + 1 and make 2. You take 1 + 1 and you make 10. All of the synergies of all these designs and activities that have come out of both. And when they go back in, here's the best way I can explain it. A Beltronics radar detector has a form, fit, and function that's familiar to Beltronics customers. Typically, not in all cases for either side, but typically, Beltronics will be more male voices, red displays, and the menus follow a particular set pattern, versus in the Escort, which are more female voices, we tend to go with the colors of the blues before Beltronics, and the menus are set up more like an Apple operating system. So they're very different. It's kind of like Apple, iOS, Droid, Windows, Google, etc. Then when it comes to putting the technologies in the products, in general, Escort is absolutely the supreme superior brand on the planet. Sorry, guys. It's up here. It just is. And then Beltronics sits right next to Escort. Now, are all of the features and all of the technologies that are in the top-end Escort detectors in the Beltronics? Not in all cases, not in all packages. But are many of those technologies shared between both? They are. So they're very close sisters. It really is. The grown-up sister who gets through college first, and then the junior sister who gets through college after the grown-up sister. So the grown-up sister is always the one that breaks the ground with eliminating the false alerts, tying to Escort Live, releasing an all-digital detector. Then, a few years later, right behind, come those same technologies to the Beltronics family. Kind of like in the cars, kind of automotive industry, powered windows.
Mm-hmm.
A long time ago, before you were born, when it was your daddy's automobile, they were in the high-end models. But over time, all of that technology migrates down, and now you get a what's a low-end Toyota Prius? What's that little? Anyway,
I don't know. Scion.
So Scion. Well, you had Scions. So now powered windows are all the way down through the fan. We do the same thing.
Well,
and pretty soon, don't say that you heard it here from me. As Larry said, soon to be Cobra. Boom, boom.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask you, and this is how I perceive it. Especially with the integration of Cobra, this is what I would expect to happen, that Cobra would become the good radar detector, the Beltronics the better radar detector, and then the Escort the best. Would that be a proper way of maybe framing this for somebody?
Nice. We'll see.
Yeah.
Can't speak for anybody sitting in New York. I don't know what the plans
Okay.
are, but that would make a lot of sense. And I think that they're smart guys, so they're gonna figure out what's
Okay,
right.
cool.
So there is a question in the back. Is that?
Go ahead.
It's one from
Yellow Cab.
It's from
Yellow
what?
Cab from Railtech. Question I have is, when can we expect an update for the Laser Shifter Pro to protect us against some of the newer guns that we're finding out in the field?
So if you're referring to Dragon Eye 1 and Dragon Eye 2, we'll see that tomorrow. We're doing laser.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow.
And how about?
So I don't know when that'll be out for public consumption, but it'll be in the test tomorrow.
And how about for Stalker XLR?
I thought we already, in our latest version, I thought we saw that.
We'll see
Because
tomorrow.
I was waiting for the question for which guns.
Wow, that's breaking news,
and
man.
I was told that
That's breaking news.
I was told that we're alerting to all of them except for the Dragon Eye 1 and 2 is the big concern.
For those of you
Very
that
small.
didn't hear that question, that was from Yellow Cab. When is there going to be an update for the Laser Shifter Pro, specifically for the Dragon Eye and the pulse rate radar guns? Ron just said this is going to be one of the tests we're doing tomorrow for the beta. I'm assuming for the Laser Shifter Pro, and if it
the
works,
top secret beta.
okay, top secret beta, no longer top secret. Something I didn't even know, so that's really cool stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Ron, question: if I'm upgrading or updating my SR, I think it's 75 to a STIR plus, and I have a leftover rear license plate unit, can I plug that into the rear? Will that still, or is that going to defeat the purpose?
So for people,
Well, let me ask you a question because people are not going to know what the question is. Ted asked, he has a RX 75
RX-75.
that he has a rear laser jammer head left over, and he just recently purchased an STIR, and he's asking if he could integrate that with the system.
I would love to be able to say yes, but as we go forward, well,
Larry just said you can.
Well, you can with
the SDR plus.
yes. You can do that
And-
still here, but that's going to change. So if you're going to do that, you want to do it quick. The technology in the 9500 CI with the new shifters, no.
Exactly.
So when this rolls up to here, and that goes back to answer the question. So the first answer is right now, yes, you can. But back to the comments about discussing the difference between Escort and Beltronics and the older sister, the younger sister, the first level, the best, then the better. This is going to move up and follow here. And when that occurs, then, you can't keep rolling forward all old technology. You just can't. Like your coffee craft doesn't fit in your new Mr. Coffee. I've tried. You can stand on it. You can ram it with a crowbar, and then you just have to end up making a trip to Menards to get another Mr. Coffee.
What we're testing tomorrow won't be the same technology as your X75.
This is a question from C. Vito. What's the difference between VG2 and the Spectra? You know,
As in,
the technology.
like for the whole world?
Yeah, for the whole world. Is VG2, I'm going to just assume he's asking, is VG2 like Spectra? Do I need to worry about VG2? What's the differences?
Because I was going to say, if you buy an STI Magnum or an STIR Plus or 9500 CI or a Redline, it doesn't matter ever because they don't emit any electrical energy. Now, here's why this question is important. We got to start at the beginning. For those who don't know, can I do that?
Yeah, please do.
So all electronic devices, Larry's Escort Live phone, the lights in this room, your Mac, all detectors emit radio frequency. They just leak noise, leak electrical energy, which we can't see, but electrical engineers have these real cool pieces of equipment that they can see. And so detectors, a given class of technologies, tend to have oscillators that operate very close to each other. And so guys on the dark side actually made a radio for law enforcement that looks for that leakage in radar detectors. It's called a radar detector. And so for many, many, many years, the guys on that side knew where the oscillators were, so they made a radio that looked for one signal. The radar detector manufacturers said, oh, we can battle against that. And so they moved their oscillator. So they were looking here, and we moved the frequency over here. But they got smart over there, and they made a system that looked here and here. Well, then the radar detector guys moved here. And so the difference between these two technologies in the question, one of them was looking here and here and here, where all the typical oscillators would be for most detectors. And the newest Spectre, it doesn't care. It just sweeps the whole band and looks for all of them. And once that occurred, all detectors except for these 4 that I just mentioned, no other detectors can be electrically invisible to the spectrum. So what you should do, if you're concerned about a radar detector, and the good news here is, let me go so far as to get into the other side of it. First, we love our law enforcement officers, men and women who put their lives on the line between the politicians on one side and the insane nuts growing up in the concrete jungles on the other with no discipline and self-control. Those guys go out and do just some amazing things for all of us. They keep us from falling into anarchy. They really do. They didn't go into the job to be ticket writers. But like all jobs, we got things we got to show up and do. Larry didn't want to come to Phoenix, but here he is. He suffered through it. So they have to write tickets. When they go to write tickets, the good news for you is this. There's a lot of ticket writing going on, but the good news for most of the people in this room and watching, if you draw a map of the United States and start to paint in where you're allowed to have a radar detector, it's a legal right in this country. You can have a radar detector in the entire country, from Washington all the way down the coast of California, all the way over to Texas, down to Florida. Leon can have a radar detector all the way back up to Maine. The whole country would be green where you can have a radar detector, except Virginia and D.C. Now, nobody wants to go to D.C. Virginia's a beautiful state. We've tried. The good news is this. 30 years ago, it was 4 states. 20 years ago, it was 3. 12, 14 years ago, it was 2. Today, it's only 1. And we've actually had laws come to committee, out of committee to the floor. Their Democratic governor says, I can't let it go because it's too much revenue. But where am I going with this? You don't need to worry about those technologies if you're in a passenger car everywhere else. Right?
Correct.
Virginia.
Or unless you're a trucker.
Now, if you're in a truck, I said passenger car. I said passenger car. If you're in a truck, military installation, probably a top secret government resource installation like your house, and Virginia and D.C., then you do need to worry about it. And the great news is this. We have you covered. Now, why do we put it in our high-end custom-installed systems? Because these are the ultimate complete radar, laser, red light camera, speed trap, defense systems that can't be seen or detected. Pretty cool, huh?
One last question.
LinkedIn.com. We're on Zoom. Oh, go ahead.
One last question. This is from Robert Rivera. And I've seen a couple people have asked this. They're getting false laser alerts with their radar detector. Is there a solution? What's causing this? Is there something they could do to reduce that?
Yeah. So, first of all, great question. They've all been great. You do. I'm looking at this screen.
I'm looking.
There are hundreds and hundreds.
There are thousands of questions.
Thousands.
We got 500, 600 people on the line right now.
Yeah. Here's the whole thing. As Leon said earlier, radar is FCC. It's radio, and that's well-known technology. And those are comparatively in the energy spectrum. Way down here, you have 60 cycle power. Then you've got radio or TV. Then you've got radio. Then you've got communications radios. Then you start to get into cell radios and cell systems, satellite uplinks, downlinks, etc., and radar guns. But even so, those are still all way down here. And then you come way up here and you start to get to the super, super, super high frequencies. You roll over into light. As Leon said, that's controlled by the FDA, so it's a whole different animal. When it's up there, what happens with those frequencies is this. Way down here, 60 cycle, it's real slow, and it's real low in frequency, and it's really big. And so that's why in your home stereo system, you can have a subwoofer anywhere in the room, and you hear those bass waves everywhere. But the small high-end speakers have to be very strategically placed for them to work. Am I going off track?
No, I'm just writing some notes here.
So now, as you move to the other end, laser, see, there you go. You have a slow connection. You need to move to the speed of light. Laser is way up at the other end, and when you go to that end, the frequencies down here are really big. They're easy to follow. They're easier to contain. They're easier to control on a circuit board. But when you get to light, those suckers are super tiny. No one can see them. And that's not a bad joke. No one can see them. The circuitry gets very difficult. So when we get falsing from a detector and there's nothing really there, oftentimes the laser circuits can be very, very difficult. So what we do, we're getting hand signals. I hope you're still with us, because this is kind of
we're still. I think that's coming in through the receiver.
So here's what can happen. Depending on the model of the detector, depending on the manufacturer of the detector, You've got different shielding against laser. It is tough. It's tough for all of the manufacturers. It's tough for everyone. But if you have one of our detectors, first of all, we've tried to anticipate all of those. Secondly, there's lots of interference in motor vehicles because there's just a lot of systems. You can bring into a cockpit of a car all kinds of crazy things. Cameras, video cameras, audio gear, security gear, all those systems come into the cockpit of the car and they leak energy. That ties back to the other question, right? These detectors. And that energy, it's like dropping a rock in a pond. It makes multiple frequencies of wherever that energy exists. And so they end up in the light spectra, and they do talk into those circuits. Now, what we would do for you if you call up, we've got some filters that we put in your inline system. We've got filters that we put on the power cable. Often we have people send the detector into us, and we work on it, and we'll fix it. And believe it or not, we've actually repaired competitor detectors. Just like some of the other manufacturers here use our detectors, we use their detectors. We've talked about their products. You know what? Everybody in this room and everybody watching, what a great industry. I think there's only one negative spot in the whole field, besides Virginia and being illegal to drive with a detector. Not Virginians and the state, but your politicians. But we know what it's like because we all belong to Congress and the federal government. So I'm going to probably get knocked off when I leave here. Where's I going with that?
Let's get ready to select our winners.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Oh, wait, the bad spot. Yeah, no, the bad spot. Rocky Mountain Radar.
My $50,000 reward. All right.
So those guys are just bad. So if you had a Rocky Mountain Radar, it would cost a lot, right?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, there's I'm going to call somebody else out too. The gentleman that makes that ghost radar detector, and Michael Churchman.
So we should say that again.
The gentleman I can't.
Oh, you mean in your $50,000 challenge?
Yeah.
I thought they were coming up here. I was getting ready to grab all my stuff and lock down my pocket.
No, they're not coming here. We're testing their stuff, but I mean, there's just like anything else. There's people out there. They're trying to. I don't want to say they're in it for the money. Michael Churchman, with his claim of making radar jammers that don't work, and then gentleman comes out with a ghost radar detector, sells it for $400, and we're testing one of his stuff. Anyway, Mike, do you have your list? One more. Okay, well, I'm just going to go down the list. The Veil 2, we have Veil 2. We have a Veil, somebody for Veil. We have somebody for the blend mount. Now, Mike from blend mount was not able to be here, so we need to pick somebody from the blend mount. We got Wayne's adaptive radar detector. We have the hard system.
I think we should give away a red line.
Oh, we're going to give a red line. Okay, they're stepping up to the plate. You're going to give a red line away?
Well, I apologize for being delinquent and not reading your email. Bob would tell you I never take.
All right, we're also throwing in a red line.
Sorry. So we're throwing this one right here.
Wow.
This one right
Look, so we're up to giving away $2,500 worth of gifts during this kickoff event. That's really cool.
That's very cool. This is an incredible event. I didn't mean to go off there, but really, the industry is
so Mike,
aficionados, awesome.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for Mike to finish up.
So are you going to announce winners? Mike,
I don't want to be in the position of selecting the winners because then the people get angry with me. So I just picked somebody out from the audience that's an enthusiast that they don't know where he lives. And they'll pick on him. But just kind of recap those of you that might have came in late for the event while Mike is going through the list. For the next 2 days, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be out in the desert here to the west of Surprise, Arizona. And what we'll be doing is we're going to be testing the radar detectors, laser jammers, Veil stealth coding, spectra tests, and doing some fun stuff like that. What we're going to do is have some live updates. We have our Facebook channel on Facebook. And
that is my picture.
So if you want to get some live updates, also my Twitter account is Radar Roy. Also, we have radardetector.net. Now, when we're finished with these results, we're going to be sharing these results with Rautech guys, a lot are, if Jim wants to update the website. And we're going to try to come out with the results simultaneously. Okay. The final results anyway. And that's probably going to be a couple weeks, and we'll have everything online on that. Any closing comments from before we announce the winners?
I have one. If there were not aficionados, Larry wouldn't have a job.
That's true.
Because he's doing the blog and the
That's his full-time job. Pretty
talking
much.
to everybody. Yeah. So.
Yeah. You got a list?
Yeah, Roy, can I add something here?
Yeah.
Please, just as you wrap up.
Banner ad. Manual banner ad.
Advertising.
All right.
Come on up, Bob.
Speaking on behalf of this industry, and I know a lot of guys here personally.
Come on up. You guys speak in here, Bob.
Yeah, a lot of people in this industry, like these two fine gentlemen. I'm a driver. A lot of us, I know Ted's an enthusiast driver, and I know there's this perception in this industry that, the people in this industry, the consumers here, are rebels, like to break laws, drive recklessly, and things along those lines. And I know all the stories, but it's just been in my experience driving that drivers who use these countermeasures in general, all of these, any of these, tend to be more, in my opinion, more responsible, certainly more engaged in the actual act of driving or riding a motorcycle. You can hear to some of the extent these guys, like Aaron's, checking all around, very safe drivers. And today I look at distracted driving as probably the biggest danger on the road to all of us. Texting, not paying attention. You talk about Virginia.
Yeah.
I drive through Virginia all the time. Most of the drivers stay in the left lane. They don't pass. They don't drive. They don't signal. Detector users, just about everybody I meet, responsible drivers, and I think the more the better.
Okay, cool.
Well put. Well put. Thank you, Bob.
Mike, you have the list?
Yes, sir.
Can you bring it up here or share it with me, and I'll. Yeah. Anyway, as Mike is coming up here, and again, we'll have all these results here in 2 weeks, and I'm really excited. We're hoping to do this again next year. Those of you that live out here in the Southwest and are interested in maybe doing this on a regular basis, shoot me an email at radarroy@radarbusters.com, and I don't know where Mike just ran off to because I need the results, but come on up here, Mike. All right, the Veil Stealth. We'll start off with the Veil Stealth coating. Who did you select for the Veil Stealth coating? And those of you that I announced as winners, please email me at my personal email address is radarroy@radarbusters.com and with your shipping address so I can ship these out to you. Okay, Ray Kozak is the for the can of Veil. And we'll write this down. Who's the blend mount? Santo in Montreal is going to get the blend mount. Who's going to get the adaptive radar detector? Carlos.
I didn't catch that. Carlos something Jr.
Carlos G. Jr. Is going to get the adaptive radar detector. William Israel, legal speeding hard system. Who's going to get the blinder, the new blinder that's coming out? Now, you're not going to get this for 3 months, but make sure you email me.
I think the blinder was the Santos.
Oh, well, we just announced him. All right. Or we'll give, okay, so you're saying Santos got the, or we're blaming Mike. All right, so Santos got the, in Montreal, got the laser jammer. We still need to give somebody the hard system.
What about this gentleman?
Okay, Walter Goddard, jam codes. Walter, you get the blend mount, mirror mount. We need the Passport Max 2 radar detector. Who did you select for that? C. Vito is going to get the Max 2, and then the red line. Chris Lewis won that red line. So, guys, if I announce you as a winner, please email me again, radarroy@radarbusters.com. I really want to thank you for being on the call today. We're having a lot of fun. And check, we'll be out here in the desert. If you're out here in the Southwest in Arizona and want to stop by tomorrow, come by and see this. This is radarroy@radarbusters.com.
Thank you, Will.
Please remember, drive safe, drive smart, and drive protected.